Hello, my name is Gunnar von Böhn from the Apollo team, and you are listening to the Scene World podcast.
Hey y'all, it's the Scene World podcast. I'm AJ.
Hello.
That is Jurg over that away in this in a different angle because he's using a different machine today because we had technical difficulties.
Right.
But yeah, all part of the fun.
Yes, well, so in a minute we talk to TriForce Johnson, part 2.
Yes, part 2, and this is a weird group of interviews because part 1 I was there for the interview, but I was not there for the intro. And part 2, I'm here for the intro, but I had to leave halfway through the interview.
That's true.
Because of some personal, mostly because, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I didn't leave the interview because I wasn't enjoying the interview or anything. It was because we started late because we got our time zones mixed up.
Yeah, I totally wasn't aware that next to Malaysia and Russia, also Jamaica doesn't do daylight saving time.
Right. And so it was just we ended up starting late, and I just had an appointment I had to get
an hour late to be exact.
Yes. And so and normally, again, we tend to record these around 2:00 or so on Monday afternoons, and as 4:00 rolled around, I had to be somewhere. So there will be a point in this interview where I disappear. I don't know if we will address the fact that I disappear or I'll just disappear. But yeah, that's why. It's nothing. No slight against TriForce Johnson. I love this man to death. He's awesome. It was just a matter of scheduling and everything else that's going on.
Oh, we had that twice already with the cold winds. And
with what?
With David Fox.
Yeah. I unfortunately had to leave with David Fox as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was those twos.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can tell you're looking behind me.
I mean, even then, I had this situation once too when we interviewed the Chinese hardware developer.
Yeah.
It was on a day I had my groceries delivered from the supermarket. Mm-hmm. So I had to go myself halfway through the interview.
Yeah,
so
right.
Sometimes life issues come in between.
Yes. Now, I don't know if you're watching the video version of this and you're looking behind me, you may notice something different, and that is that I am now running Amiga OS 3.2 on my Amiga 500. I actually had a somewhat extensive Instagram post about it, where I explained what I've done with my MIGI, which is slightly which is very muchly expanded from what an original Amiga 500 would be. But Amiga OS 3.2 is I actually ordered the software and the physical Kickstart chip. They did not send me a physical Kickstart chip. And I sent them a message and they haven't gotten back to me. But but the CD that it comes on, which my Amiga does not have a CD-ROM drive, so that makes a whole new. So I bet I had to write somewhere in the range of 15 floppy disks to install this, and then put the Kickstart image, which is on the CD. I had to put that on the ACA 500 in one of the slots. Fortunately, it's got those slots so you can do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to run this.
Can't you simply connect to a CD drive or DVD drive?
No.
Okay. Huh.
There's no the Amiga 500 does not have IDE or SCSI. You could have add-ons. I don't. I've got the ACA 500, so it's got 2 hard drives in the forms of CF cards. But there's no other connectivity like that that I have.
Alrighty.
There are certain things. There are accelerators like the Terrible Fire and another internal one that gives you IDE connectivity, just like the 1200 or 600 has, where you can hook up. And I've seen people. Miss Mad Lemon was one of these people that hooked up a CD drive, or maybe it was even a DVD drive, to her Amiga 1200, and just the sheer amount of work required to do that is daunting to me. So what I ended up doing was I copied the contents of the CD. I used the Mac and I copied them onto a CF card, which then shows up as a CD on my desktop, and I could then write my disk images from that. I couldn't run the installer off of it because the CD needs to be named a very specific thing, and I can't name it that because that second CF card is formatted in DOS, FAT32, so you're limited in what you can do with names. But that's neither here nor there.
True.
Amiga OS 3.2 is worth it. It is awesome. I enjoyed 3.14. I thought 3.14 was a pretty awesome upgrade, and 3.2 is an even more awesome upgrade. There's a lot of changes to it, and if you're an Amiga user that you actually uses your Amiga for doing things like I like to go and do things like go on web pages, go online, and do actually use it for day-to-day tasks. If you're into that, it's a really good product, and I highly endorse it. If you're just a casual,
to see that
if you're a casual gamer, I would stick with Amiga OS or a Kickstart like 1.3 or 3.1, whatever came on your machine, because a lot of times newer games won't run on this because the Kickstart is too new, and I have to go and use the ACA to tell it to use an earlier version of the ROMs. And even then, it sometimes doesn't work because I have an Amiga 1200 accelerator in there, which they don't like having a 68020. They want the original 68000 running at 7 megahertz, and with that accelerator installed, I can't disconnect it without actually unplugging the accelerator. And it's a real finicky accelerator. Like, you got to get it just right in there before it works. So I don't like to unplug it.
Right. Well, so.
But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So carrying on. There's some news before we get to TriForce.
I mean, I can't really say a lot about it because I don't know anything about the Amiga, so never mind. Anyway, speaking about discs, on Facebook, somebody posted the Melbourne Computer Club disc backup.
Yes.
He found on a collection of discs he got recently. So download link for that we will post there.
Very cool, very cool.
Yes, but preserving is always good.
Yeah.
Speaking about preserving, the Rubber Keyed Wonder with Nicola Coldwin and Anthony Coldwin, we had them in the interview recently, last November, and there are 40 years of ZX Spectrum, the Rubber Keyed Wonder DVD or Blu-ray can actually still be ordered if you missed the Kickstarter.
Okay.
Via Beckerlit.
Right.
So we will put a link to that as well. And also, the Zero Tolerance game from the Mega Drive has been ported to German Gen consoles. So that means another game.
Very cool. Speaking of preservation, really quick, I went to just the other day. I went to the Vintage Computer Festival East in New Jersey that was held. There will be a video up long before this podcast is released. But
nice.
But we'll probably include some video right above this.
Sure. Depending on when you have it up.
Right, but there was there were two guys that Chris Hooper and Stefan Reinauer. Actually, there was quite a few people there that I recognized, like Stefan Grip from the 128 Neo was there, and a lot of cool people were there. But Chris Hooper and Stefan Reinauer specifically have recreated the Amiga A4091 SCSI host controller. So what this is, it's a card. It's a Zorro 3 card that allows you to run a SCSI drive. And from what I gather from speaking to them, there are 2 SCSI cards for the Zorro 3 slots. And this is for the Amiga 3000 and Amiga 4000. One of them is closed source, and so as they die, they die. The other one is the A4091, which was, I believe, designed by Dave Haney, and who has made it open sourced. So they're able to make, and they went so far as to make like boxes for it and the manuals and these beautiful reproductions. And what this does is, to get back to the idea of preservation, is that as these cards, there's a finite number of them in the world, the originals, and as they die, so does the Amiga 4000 and 3000 that rely on them. And so, by making these open source, and Chris, who was there, was pretty adamant about the fact that he was not making these. He made a few and he's selling a few, but that's not the goal. The goal is to make it open source so that anyone can make them, and keep these things around so that these machines can stay operational. Because without these cards, you don't have a SCSI hard drive. You don't have stuff that software depends on, So it's a really cool thing that I think these guys should be on the podcast. And to that effect also, and there will be, we'll put video of this as well. There is the Francis Bernier put out it has the C64i, which is the C64 improved, which is he told me it was kind of a mashup between the 64 Ultimate, which is by what was the guy's name?
Gideon Schweitzer.
Yes. It was just kind of a mashup between Gideon Schweitzer's 64 Ultimate and the C64 Reloaded by individual computers. So
by Jens Schoenfeld. Yeah.
Yes. So it's kind of a mashup between the two. You need a minimal number of original chips to make it work. It also has FPGA logic, and I believe the video is FPGA based. And again, there'll be some pictures and some video overlaid over this. You can also
send it to me.
Yeah, you can also go and view my VCF video that will have been up for quite a bit by now. If you want to learn a little bit more about it. And again, he's another guy. That's another guy that I think that we should have on the podcast. He was saying that he had it almost perfect. There were a couple of bugs that he was still ironing out before it was ready for prime time. But man, it looked and ran well. And
nice.
And the 128 Neo, who we talked to Johan when he was doing that, he's working on a second revision of it. And this one's got a custom keyboard, which is compatible with both the flat 128 and the 128D, which has that external keyboard, because those two keyboards are not compatible with it. Well, I learned that the hard way. They are not compatible with each other, because I had a 128 DCR, and the keyboard was going bad. And this is back in the early 90s, before you could just go on eBay and find a keyboard for it. But the keyboard was going bad, and I thought, oh, well, I'll take it out of my broken flat 128. And that didn't work. You can't do that. So Yeah, so there was a lot of stuff. There was actually a lot of cool stuff there, and a lot of people that I think that we should revisit now. And talk to. And so maybe look out for that in the coming months, guys.
Yeah, feel free to invite them.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Well, so should we go on?
Well, I've got two more
got
pieces
some
of
other stuff.
Yeah, I got two more pieces of news. I don't know if you've got anything else.
Yes.
Okay, then you do some of yours, and we'll bounce back to me.
Okay. Well, so there was a new core released for the Mister, and that's the Sega 63X core, which is interesting because it was told that this is virtually impossible.
What is the Sega 63X? That sounds like one short of a 64.
It's an add-on for the Mega Drive.
Okay. It's not quite 64 bits. It's not quite a Sega 64. It's a 64 3 and like 3 and a little bit.
Like I said, do your research.
I will. Will.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
so
interesting.
And also keeping the Sega topic, Sega also announced that Sonic Origins will be coming on the June of 23rd.
Okay.
And it will include 4 remastered titles: Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehogs, Sonic CD, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And also, as you can see in the trailer, you can select your other characters. So, that's pretty nice because you can't do that in the original version of the games.
Sonic is having quite a time lately. I mean, with Sega releasing this stuff, there was recently a C64 version of Sonic the Hedgehog that came out, and a second movie is coming out. A second movie following the first one, in which
it already has been released.
Oh, okay, maybe
if I'm not mistaken. It's already in the movie theaters.
Yeah, which is a sequel to a movie in which they actually listened to the fans.
And redid it because of the fur.
Yeah, because of the horrible, creepy humanoid Sonic that was in the original trailers. So that's actually, Sonic's all over the place. Sonic, I would say, is at this point maybe a bigger IP than Mario, because
no, it's not true.
Not in the long run, but I mean it's more in there's more. It's more saturated. It's more in the market right now.
No, that's not true, because you forget the leap of time. Sonic Mania was released, the last Sonic, 5 years already. And the first movie was also released like 2 years already.
Yeah.
So you totally forgot.
How many Super Mario Brothers movies have been released in that time?
None, but
exactly. But how many new Super Mario Brothers games have been released in that time?
I don't know. I didn't follow. But
that's
anyway.
what I'm just saying. It's more in the news right now than Mario is, as far as like just the attention that it's getting.
Well, okay. So my last bit of news I've got is that the game 8-Bit Slicks, which is a network game for multiple users over the network, has now been released in a new version. And now supports three interfaces: the 8-Bit Hub, the RRNet, and the Ultimate. Okay. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The Ultimate card, yes. I'm personally an owner of the RRNet, as people could see 2 years ago when we did a live stream with Martin Amann together, who also has an RRNet. And Martin and we are using it for data transfer, using warp copy over the network, between PC and C64, which I actually do since 2010, so since 12 years now, long before the Ultimate 1541 was the thing.
Yeah, I've got the Ultimate 1541, and I believe that that emulates the RNet. The RRNet compatibility. That emulates RRNet compatibility.
I don't know if it does in the newest version.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it does not. The built-in Ethernet port does not provide RRNet compatibility.
You see?
Okay, my bad.
Okay, well, so that would be my news so far.
Okay, I've got 2 more bits, which is that the 2022 Basic 10 Liners contest has published their winners.
Nice.
That I didn't even... I don't even remember talking about this when it started, but yeah, they have released their winners. I will put a link to where you can see them. I don't think that there weren't many C64. It was mostly number 1 went to the Auric. BBC Micro, Atari, MSX, lots of Ataris and MSXs. I don't see any C64 actually in this, so that's interesting. And on the topic of contests, the A-Buck software, the Atari Bit-Byte User Club, is running a software competition for 2022. So the rules are that any individual or group can participate with 1 or more entries. You do not need an A-Buck membership to take part in it. It has to be able to run on an Atari 8-bit home computer. And it needs to mention A-Buck software contest together with the year of the contest on the title screen. No commercial games. And the deadline for this is at the bottom of my screen. Actually, the award, the monetary prize award, is the first 3 places get €850.
Nice.
Which ain't bad for an Atari program.
Right.
And still looking for that deadline. I just saw it. Okay, it is July 31st of 2022.
Nice.
So if you're an Atari programmer and you want to program something, it doesn't say it's got to be a game. It doesn't say what it is. It just has to be a program. And submit it to A-Buck by the end of July. And you could end up with €850.
Not bad. Yeah, well, the A-Book is actually the oldest and biggest Atari user club in Germany.
Yeah.
And
so it says.
I guess that is one of those efforts to be more international.
Mm-hmm.
We reported about them a couple of times in this podcast news section already in the past.
Yeah.
Once when they announced they are under new leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And once when they unfortunately had a hacker attack and got their data assets stolen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm incorrect about that. So it's there is an algorithm for how much you get. So, the A-Buck awards monetary prizes with a total of €2850. Of this, €850 are shared among the first 3 places. €2,000 are divided by the amount of points given to the respective entry in relation to the total number of points given to all participating entries.
Okay, that sounds complex.
Yes, so first place gets €500 plus a calculated share that is dependent on the number of votes that it has received. Second place, €250 plus that share. And then third place is €100 and a calculated share. And then all other places get a calculated share based on the number of votes that they have gotten. So it looks like even if you only got one vote, you still get €2.
Nice.
So that's, hey, you get something.
Alrighty, well, now
that's all my
jump
news.
to Jamaica.
Yes, back to TriForce Johnson, Part 2, where we will talk not about twin galaxies.
That's true.
And
nice.
Bazinga.
Today we are back with TriForce Johnson, Part 2 of our interview. And this time we will talk about what we originally intended to, e-gaming and gaming and retro and all this thing in Jamaica, from your point of view, on your side of the world.
Yeah, it's a different point of view from my side.
Yeah, well, because last time I mentioned the name, Chase Hall, and you went off on a thing. So.
Well, I wouldn't say I went off, but it kind of intercrossed and brought up some points, and then we got into a whole conversation about it. But
right,
yeah,
I didn't know that this name was a trigger point for you, so.
I wouldn't call it trigger. Like I said, I don't really focus unless someone mentions his name. I don't really talk about him.
Okay, good. So, so as we already spoke about your history and all that stuff, I guess let's go into what is there special to know about e-gaming in Jamaica? I mean, that's the thing you are mainly known for.
Well, esports in Jamaica recently is now making a return. COVID-19 has really struck the world and made things it staunched a lot of things in the world. It's not just esports, just everyday life. People have been trapped in their home. You would think that because you're home more often, you game more, but there's a difference between social gaming and esports and online gaming. Online gaming is a long way before becoming perfect, because there's a difference between casual gaming online and esports online. When you LAN network something to compete against, you get the optimal timing and setup just to compete at the highest level. When you play online, you deal with a lot of lag issues, and it just makes it doesn't make for a conducive environment to compete or experience. So despite everyone being able to be home and playing more games, esports kind of tanked in Jamaica. There are two organizations here in Jamaica that deals with esports. That's one, Empire Arcadia, and then the other one is the JEI, the Jamaica Esports Initiative. But I think I mentioned this in our last interview. Their initiative to move Jamaica forward in esports is predicated on the support that they can get from foreign entities. So they depend on outside entities to regulate, pretty much, what's the word, validate their infrastructure or validate a infrastructure. It may even be the foreign investor or sponsor's infrastructure, won't even be like domestic. Whereas Empire Arcadia, it's about focusing on what Jamaican people want to do in gaming and what we can bring to the table to offer our own people in gaming. And there's a split in between, because the JEIs used to be people that I worked with. We worked together before, but they were under a different organization, and then they formed the JEI about 2 years ago. And what they want to do is completely different from what we've ever done in the past. And because of that, their games are tailored more to foreign-based staples. I say foreign-based staples because Jamaica has a culture down here, dancing. I say this without being facetious. Gun games, because when you think about Jamaica, people think about guns down here, but like I'm not trying to connect that to crime or violence down there. It's just that people in Jamaica, if you even listening to the music, you know, dancehall music or reggae music or whatever type, they talk about guns. There's always something about guns. So gun games, first-person shooter games like Call of Duty, Valorant, and games of the like, Fortnite, and then football. And I'm not talking about the NFL. I'm talking about football, which is the West calls it FIFA or soccer. So those are the three main components, cultural aspects of Jamaica. So for us, Empire Arcadia, we try to focus on developing those three main things. The number one cultural element of Jamaica that is sovereign to Jamaica is dancing. Football is a European sport, although everyone in the world loves it. So that would come secondary. And gun games, well, me personally, just me. I'm not talking about anybody else. I never liked gun games. I like non-violent games that make you think, puzzle type games. And when I mean non-violent, I just mean no guns, no missiles, nothing that can emulate war in real life.
Just to make it sure, you mean with gun games you mean shooters, right?
Yeah, because like a game like what's a space shooter game? A game like R-Type is violent because you're destroying things. Right. But like nobody has an R-Type ship, and there's no Bioid Empire attacking Earth. We're not blowing up starcrafts.
Right.
So that's fictional violence.
Right.
I don't like realistic violent games. I don't like Grand Theft Auto. I don't like the Call of Duty franchise. I don't like Battlefield because all of those things, they're not imaginatory violence.
True. Yeah. Well, I'm just asking because when you repeatedly say gun games, for me that's light gun games, you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to I wanted to make sure what I was talking about in terms of gun games.
Yeah.
So I really don't try to support that. It has to be something that the community wants, and then I'll do what I can to help. So, but I focus more on the non-violent fun and social games. That's why I'm so immersed in Just Dance, especially with the Valkyries. It's a part of Jamaican culture, dancing. So we have these dance competitions via the game itself.
Dance Revolution and other games like that, I guess.
Well, Dance Dance Revolution is obsolete now because of the way Just Dance is created. There used to be a dancing series called Dance Central. And so now it's not about following the arrows and just moving your feet. It's actually about dancing.
I see. I'm totally behind in this topic. I'm totally not up to date.
Oh, wow. That's crazy because in the new Just Dance games whether it's for the Xbox or the PlayStation or the Nintendo Switch, there's devices or there's technology that you have to follow the dance movements. And the game actually grades you on how well you follow the dance movements. I think the PlayStation one is the most accurate one because it uses, I think it's the Xbox one. It uses the Kinect and it watches your actual dance movement and mimics it to what's on there. The Nintendo Switch is just as accurate because of the Switch, the Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons grabs the sensation of your body and it can just tell by just on your arm. And in fact, they use a thing called a Ring Fit to do the very same thing. They put a band on your leg and then you have the Joy-Con, the Ring-Con in your arm, and it can read your entire body signatures and movements from it.
That's true.
That same technology is applied into the Just Dance for the Nintendo Switch. So you really have to dance. And then there's a human element to it where we add judges because you can hack the game. A lot of people will say, okay, you know what I want to do? I don't necessarily have to follow the dance movements. There's a guide at the bottom of the screen which shows you when to actually do the actual dance movement. So, and if you time it out properly, you'll be graded on how well you timed it out. You could turn that option off, forcing the people to dance because they can't see the prompt as to when to do the move. So you could turn that off. And then if you put human judges in it, they can look at the people dancing and they can say, let's say the scores, we had this Just Dance Off 2022 competition at VR World in December last year. It was sponsored by the Long Island Gaming League. The Live Video Game TV documented it and produced it, put it on television here in Jamaica. And if you come within 500 points, I think 100 to 500 points close to within each other, the judges will determine then who danced the best. So there's some type of opinion involved in it. We do that so that nobody sits there and just goes.
True. Yes. Good point.
If you do that,
Yeah.
if you do that, and then you get within 100 points to 500 points within your competitor, and your competitor is dancing, the judge is going to go vote for the competitor. So it pushes you to dance because you want to push that cultural aspect of it. And that's what we focus on here in Jamaica for Empire Arcade. We've been doing that since 2015. Hype TV, TVJ, CVM, we've been on all their shows, and we try to really push that. And I have a female division here in Jamaica. I shouldn't say female division in Jamaica. We have a female division in Empire Arcadia called the Valkyries of Arcadia. They're our sister division for the organization. They represent all things girl gaming. Now, some people say, what do you mean girl gaming? Gaming is gaming. No, that's not true. The way guys game and the way girls game are two different things. The way guys eat and the way girls eat are two different things. We may eat the same food, but we don't eat it the same way. The way a guy uses the toilet is not the same way a woman uses the toilet.
That's obvious. Yeah.
You get the point I'm trying to make. That probably was an unnecessary metaphor to use. But you
try not to
get what
the
I'm trying to say.
picture in my head.
So in terms of that, the way girls game, in my experience, and I've been watching girls game for the last 30 years, to me, they have more fun than the guys. Guys are hyper competitive, not competitive, hyper. It's too much. And in the amount of years I've been playing video games and getting those things, at my age, I am burnt out. I am so tired of guys yelling and cursing at each other. You mother effer, blah, blah, blah. Get on my level. You're not good. And guess which community is the worst? The shooter community. They're the worst. All forms of racism, all forms of terrorist threats. I'm going to kill you, SWAT you, this, that.
Wow. Okay.
Violent, very violent community. Very violent community. The first person shooter community is the most violent community in gaming, hands down. That's not even like a question. And so I like the games that are fun. I like some puzzle games. Smash Brothers is cool. Fighting games is cool. To some points, it's violence, but it's not at the violent level as like a gun game. Dancing games, racing games, those type of things. So that's what I focus on, as opposed to the other organization, the Jamaica Esports Initiative. They focus on the quote unquote what we call the traditional games, which is what is in the US. Fighting games, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Valorant, those.
Counter-Strike Go and stuff, I guess. Counter-Strike Go. And
yes.
Yeah. Well, here's the things though. You mentioned at the beginning that the difference between gaming online and gaming as e-gaming is in a LAN, a local area network, where you don't have all these things like ping and ping issues and latency issues. There are exceptions though. For example, PUBG has online leagues where you, however, have to have a certain ping as a requirement, otherwise you can't join. So
that there lies in the problem. The issue, what we're talking, the conversation we're having is about Jamaica. So we're in a third world country, and because we're in a third world country, the internet infrastructure here isn't even at 5G. It's at 4G, and even when it's at 4G, our 4G is nothing compared to the 4G in America. Like the 4G in America dwarfs the 4G here. So our internet infrastructure isn't set up for online gaming. Jamaica is still in the gathering LAN phases, and if you ask any gamer, they'll tell you they prefer a LAN setting than 5G.
True.
They just prefer that.
Yeah, I mean that's the example. For example, one of the biggest PUBG players on Twitch is from South Africa, but she can't join any e-gaming events of PUBG because there's no server dedicated for South Africa for the game. So her ping is always 150 milliseconds. So she cannot participate in those serious tournaments.
And until we get to an infinite infrastructure globally that will bind the players globally, land is the best option for now. True. So, and it is unfortunate. So going back to the COVID-19 situation, that kind of crippled Jamaica in terms of esports. In terms of Empire Arcadia, we just said, oh, well, we weren't based on our infrastructure to begin with. So for us, we still continue to have the Just Dance competitions. We still continue to have the gaming events and functions associated to esports through the Valkyries. Guys would come out to these competitions because it's cool. It's cool to play. Our next thing that we're going to be doing, we're working with the Long Island Gaming League again to try to host an event in May. We're trying to get Color Switch, a mobile game for your phone, to get them involved as well, because we did that when we were in Africa. We had this thing called the Esports Trio. It was Color Switch, FIFA, and Just Dance. And it's possible to even do that again here in Jamaica. So where we have an Esports Trio. So we're working with them. We're going to talk to them about hosting that here in Jamaica as well, coming for the summer. But my entire job is to create the Caribbean's own sovereign esports infrastructure. Why? That's the question. Because the way the world is set up, if we follow everybody else's infrastructure, we will be barred from competition unless we adapt their infrastructure, which will require us to go borrow money, set up that infrastructure, and then be in debt. We need our own sovereign infrastructure so that when the world decides to say, or the European world says, we want to have a world competition, we want these people involved outside of the European world, they then have to work with us. We'll have to come to a compromise between their infrastructure and our infrastructure, which makes it more of a world event. If not, then we'll be like that girl in Africa where her ping doesn't match up, so she can't compete. And that's a shame, because then it's not a real world event.
That's true. So the question is not only the infrastructure of Jamaica, but also the company who runs the server infrastructure saying, okay, we see Jamaica most important enough to have our own dedicated server there, so people can compete with a good enough ping, The
problem with that is that who's going to pay for the independent server?
True. Yeah.
It's always going to come down to money. Now, unless they go, hey, listen, we got the investors, we want Jamaica involved, we want Africa involved, we'll pay the money to set up a server for you, then that's fine. The only problem with that is that in the future they have all the leverage on the table, because let's say something happens in the world, social, that affects people. We don't like something.
See it in Russia, which is like the prime example. Russia is like 20 to 30 years behind now, and nobody wants to deal with Russia anymore. And suddenly they are cut off from the modern world, in a way.
It depends. See, everything is based on what the people of a particular country wants. Being cut off from the modern world is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's best not to be involved in the modern world. For example, Africa is not really involved in the modern world per se. I think it's a bad example to use, but when you look at all of the countries that's not involved in the modern world, the third world countries, the countries closest to the equator and the sun, when COVID-19 hit, they didn't get affected the most. No, they weren't as affected as the modern worlds. And you would think, well, how? They don't have enough hospitals. They don't have the medical resources to combat COVID-19. But those countries did better at beating COVID-19 than the modern world that had all of the resources, 10 times over. So you're asking yourself, wait, okay, so how? And that's because, one, the modern world serves garbage food. It doesn't serve food, it serves food products. So Burger King isn't food. A green banana is food. Potatoes is food. Yam, food. Tomatoes, food. Onions, food. This is food. These type of alkaline food, or I call them God foods, helps your immune system fights viruses. Every 2 years, Jamaica gets hit with a new virus. If it's not the Zika virus, it's some other virus that they randomly just comes to Jamaica somehow. And we just go in our gardens and our bush background and whatever, and we pull out some fever grass or some dandelion or some, or Medina seeds, whatever is it, and then we somehow beat the virus. In America and in other first world countries, they have all of these medicines in a pill form, and they have problems beating the virus. So it depends on which side of the spectrum you are. If you are in the first world, look what you have to deal with. But then at the same time, the first world has all these other extra technologies that makes your life more comfortable. So that's the plus.
I guess it's also a small line of how you see it personally. I mean, I have been to Brazil and Peru myself, which are both seen third world countries, you know. But honestly, I was fine, you know. Okay, in Peru there were times where there was no water, and then I was like, okay, so I don't take a dump in the next 30 minutes, and because there's no water supply, so I can't flush it down, you know. So it's something
that happens here in Jamaica, but we have a water tank. So what happens in most third world countries is that they've created water tanks for every house, and what happens is you can get a 600-gallon water tank, and water companies will deliver, pour water in your water tank, and you keep it there and you use your regular water. If there's an outage of water, you can go into your water tank that can last you for an entire week. And for water to be locked off for more than a day is rare in Jamaica or in any third world. If water is locked off for more than a day in a country, that's a government thing. That has nothing to do with the infrastructure. It shouldn't be. Even third world countries have water supplies that are adequate enough to at least run on a daily basis. There shouldn't be a reason why. We're not in the Sahara Desert. We're in a tropical island. It rains here.
True.
So
true.
like,
yeah.
If you can't depend on a water company, you can just catch your own rain. This is not Florida where it's illegal to get your own rainwater. So like, we'll catch our own rain. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, I see it from a touristic point of view. I was there for 3 weeks, and I was like, okay, so I have to adjust to the what the country gives you. And I was a tourist. I was like, okay, no problem. I can adjust to that.
Well, and that's a great example in terms of adjusting, because the entire point I'm trying to make here is that Jamaica doesn't necessarily need to have the same infrastructure as the first world. It can make its own. It doesn't need to get involved in American esports or European esports or Japanese esports or Chinese esports. It can have Jamaican esports, and people in Jamaica can compete in it. If they want to expand, they can network with other countries that will come together as a business, and they can work out an infrastructure how those companies can work together, as opposed to just adopting a foreign infrastructure, because once you do that, you're jailed, especially if they're paying for it.
I mean, on the long run, wouldn't it be nice if, I don't know, like in 10, 20 years, if Jamaica was as a major player in esports as you mentioned, China, Japan, and Europe, perhaps? So you could say, okay, now Jamaica has the infrastructure because it's progressed forward, and the global society of e-gaming wants Jamaica to be a part of it. So then you have actually two worlds. You still have your local competition, but also your global ones where you can participate.
There's a contradiction into what you just said.
Okay.
you said that Jamaica can join the global, but there is no global because not all of the countries in the world can participate. There's an international superpower for esports. The US and Japan. Those are the superpowers. There is no global yet. Through the internet, we have a soft esports competitive scene, but there isn't a global one yet. There isn't a global community for Jamaica to join because there isn't an infrastructure for the global community. So it's an oxymoron. You can't join something that doesn't exist.
True.
So
Okay.
no global community would be looking forward to Jamaica to join, and Jamaica wouldn't be interested in joining something that does not exist. It has to be made first. And Jamaica has Digicel, and then it has Flow. These are the two major telecommunication and ISP providers, or internet service providers here in Jamaica. Flow, which is the nation's domestic telecommunication organization and internet service provider, can create their own infrastructure for gaming. The problem with them is they feel that they have to see how does this make money for them. I used to work with Flow back in 2014 and 2015. In fact, that's how I got involved in esports in Jamaica back then. When I came down here, I spoke to both telecommunication companies, Digicel and Flow, and we did events for both of them. But at that time, they didn't see the grand scheme of things. Then I ended up working for this land company called Cyberbox, and we tried to get both of them involved. Still, they couldn't see it. Now, Usain Bolt, our nation's heroic Olympian, who has 3 gold medals, created an esports team, but it's an Irish esports team. So, if anything, they're going to go to Digicel because Digicel is a private telecommunication company here in Jamaica, and it's Irish owned. So, how does that help the Jamaican people? So the only organization that could do that for Jamaica would be Flow, unless Digicel allows themselves to be diverse and focus on their domestic. Well, it isn't domestic because they're a foreign entity. Okay.
I see. I see the trouble here. I see the trouble here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you see what it is. Now, my job is to create this bridge of communication, to create that infrastructure, architect that infrastructure so that the country maintains leverage in doing business with both foreign or domestic organizations to set up an esports infrastructure for it here that can prepare it for a global community down the line.
I mean, in the 2 episodes back, actually, we spoke to Wayne Benjamin, and he said the major problem is that the majority of Jamaica's population doesn't see the importance in preserving history of video games, doesn't see the importance in e-gaming, or that it could be or is elsewhere a big industry. So he said that it's generally a problem of the attitude of Jamaicans, that they don't see it as important in any way, shape, or form.
Well, contextually, he's 100% accurate and correct. This is why I work with him. As a video game journalist and a producer for gaming content, and actually just he's a filmmaker. So he produces all types of content, it's not just video games. But
right.
Mainly as a video game journalist, he and I both understand that attitude that Jamaica has. They don't see the importance of it. But there's a reason why, and I know the reason why, and I don't mean to come off pretentious or egotistical about it. Let's understand the reason. The problem here is that Jamaica does not look to its own to build its own. It sees something on the outside and it just wants to copy it. This is a problem. This makes it very difficult for Jamaica to appreciate its own brand of esports. It's all about branding. The Chinese esports and Japanese esports are two different brands. If you go to either country and you see how they do esports, it's completely different. They have their culture as a human culture is embedded into what they play. It's like game design. I'll give you a prime example. Japanese game developers make games based off Japanese culture. Their characters are Japanese. Their language is Japanese. Their culture is Japanese, even the characters. Now, people say, well, say that for Mario or Zelda. Well, I'm not talking about back in the days when they were making 8-bit, where the retro video game industry created games based on global and fictional content.
Like the Italians, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mario and Luigi, who are two Italian plumbers. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. But that originally Mario wasn't even the first character. It was all about Donkey Kong, which, although Nintendo won the lawsuit, we all know that's King Kong.
Like, true. Yes, true.
Yeah, we all know it's King Kong.
Mario was originally called Jumpman. He didn't have a name back then. Yes.
It was just a guy that jumped, right? But then here King Kong is in New York on scaffolds and girders. Pauline is a white woman with hair. So when they were making the game, they were really making a King Kong game. But hey, you got to change it, because you go too close to King Kong, you get sued. So then now they have to create an old character. All right, well, if we're in America, back in the days in the 80s, the Italian mafia ran New York. So we got to make this guy an Italian man. Who the people were building. So that is a different industry back then versus today. If you look at today's industry, if you look at the games Microsoft makes, if you look at the game, like American game developers and Japanese game developers, they create games based on their people, their culture. So you're going to see more of those characteristics come out on them. Jamaica needs to do the same. It's just that simple. There's a game in Africa called Orion, and it's African made. It's based off of African lore, African culture, African people, African hair, African skin, African everything, right? Why? Because Africans made it. So Jamaica needs to do the same. The Live Video Game TV did a review on a video game called Street Boy, and it's based off of this cart pushing kid. We have carts that push out here in Jamaica. They have vegetables on it, and they sell the farmer's market cart and stuff like that. And there's a kid on the street with it. And that's a Jamaican element in culture. Game's popular in Jamaica because it's a part of our culture. So when Jamaica is able to take those cultural elements and put them in gaming, in terms of design and development, and in terms of esports, then it will get big. Why? The people can relate to it. Jamaican people cannot relate to I don't want to say first world esports. It cannot relate to the modern day esports of the world because Jamaica is not a part of the modern day world. Right. So it's not going to understand that, and they don't see themselves in it. So you're only going to get the hardcore, the ones who watch esports globally, and they have taken the time out of themselves individually to become acclimated with esports globally. So it's not a cultural thing for them. It's not a Jamaican thing. It's not an American thing. It's not a Japanese thing. It's not a Chinese thing. It's video games. But if you want Jamaica as a country to get involved, we have to insert Jamaican culture into the games. What is one of Jamaica's biggest culture? Dancing. And that's why we do Just Dance, especially with Jamaican women. Because what do Jamaican men love more than anything? Jamaican women, actually. Men, period, around the world love Jamaican women. So if you got a bunch of sexy Jamaican gaming girls dancing and playing Just Dance, even if you're not into esports, you're going to be like, I like this. What's going on here?
True.
This is just common sense. Like, then you'll get involved. Then the process of, wow, I don't want to say the word indoctrination. Let's say the process of learning more about esports globally grabs your attention. You have an interest in it. That interest, yes, it may be artificial because we're using women, but so what? We use money. What's the
Now the
difference?
question is, our 5th episode, so long time ago in February
Oh,
2015, so like 17 years ago. Sorry, 17? Yeah, 7 years ago. 7 years ago, we had an interview with the Fractals. You know, the all-women gaming girl group by Ubisoft, and actually a few weeks after we did the interview, Ubisoft dissolved the group, saying that an all-women gaming group is not necessary anymore because gaming is now for everybody, and the women's society doesn't need its own group to promote.
They actually
gaming for
brought
women.
one back right after that. They just didn't call them the gaming girl. They brought one back after that, and they just didn't call them the Frag Dolls. It was something
Really? Did they?
different. Yeah, for a
But
brief
see-
time, but they focused on one game.
Could be.
I disagree with Ubisoft's decision on that.
Okay, tell me your opinion.
I don't think Ubisoft dissolved them for that. In my opinion, this is just my opinion. I think that was more of a cover because they just wanted to dissolve the group. Here's something
Why
you're
would
not
they do
aware.
that? I mean, they were one of the most
I'm going to answer
successful
that.
people.
Let me answer that.
Okay, sure.
One, I know all of the Frag Dolls. They all know me. I even know the PMS clan. Well, the Pandora's Mighty Soldiers. Let me not call them that anymore. I know the twins. I know all of them. We all, when I formed the Valkyries of Arcadia in 2002, our female division interacted with theirs. So
Okay.
I'm aware of all of them. The problem with the Frag Dolls is that the Frag Dolls did not complete the mission Ubisoft set out for them, which was to create, I wouldn't say a sub-market, but to put emphasis on the female market, where they can tailor their business and services to a direct female market. The market is so expansive now in gaming, they don't need to do that anymore. So, yes, they're right, but I don't think that is the full story. I believe that they're like, well, you know something? Emphasis on female gaming is very important. The Empire, I could use the same excuse and say we don't need to have the Valkyries of Arcadia. But as I've said to many people before, the way women game is not the way men game, and it will never be. Girls will try to emulate men, men will try to emulate girls. And that's all it will ever be, an emulation, right? It will be mean. It will never be authentic. But regardless of whether or not it is emulated, the point is that there's an authentic culture to women and how they game and have fun that is nothing like ours. This is
And what do
proven
you
everything.
think? What do you think about mixed group gaming? I mean, I in my free time I game with women.
Unisex.
I
Unisex gaming will always be. Gaming was always unisex to begin with. Gaming, we have to compartmentalize and not confuse the two. When video games was created, it was created for human beings, not men, not women, not children,
True.
not little boys and little girls. It was meant for everyone. The family computer is literally the definition of video games. Famicom, the family computer. When Nintendo created the NES, the Famicom, the image that they put on the box is the image of gaming. Nintendo saw the future. Everyone, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister. In fact, there was a dog in the picture. The family plays video games. The family that plays together, stay together. The society that plays together, stay together. However, within that family structure of gaming, there are core aspects that you can market to. What the father likes as an adult man may be, I've never been to the military. I want to experience how it's been in war. I watch a lot of war movies, but here's Call of Duty. The mother may be on some, oh, my marriage is not going that well, man. I wish I could like simulate my own marriage. And she'll be playing The Sims. The son wants to play Mario. The daughter wants to play Tetris. Grandma wants to play Mario Kart. Granddad wants to play Guitar Hero. You get the point I'm trying to make.
True.
Each different member of the family, you can target specific games too. So when Ubisoft created the Frag Dolls, it was to target games that specifically hit women. And when they say, well, video games in general hit women, that's not true. There are some games for women that hit them more than the general populace of games.
Like The Sims, as you mentioned, yeah.
First Life.
That is like women. I met a lot of women in Brazil. They all love Sims. If you ask what's their favorite game, they say Sims. The Sims.
But if you ask a guy what's his favorite game, is Call of Duty or Fortnite or League of Legends or
True.
Mortal Kombat or something else. They're not going to say The Sims. Who's the number one consumer of Just Dance? Women.
Yeah. True.
Guys don't buy Just Dance. Guys do buy Just Dance, but not at the level women buy. So using that example, that's a poor excuse for Ubisoft to dissolve the Frag Dolls, because now here they are. They could have used the Frag Dolls in Just Dance. Instead, they used KDA, which is a fictional women group. In Just Dance 2022, you have a group called KDA in there, and it's a fictional. It's not even. They're not real. They're digital characters, and they're in League of Legends and blah blah blah, and they're dancing. But if the Ubisoft kept the Frag Dolls, they could have had a whole dancing team for the Frag Dolls, and they could then use the Frag Dolls as the mascot for that brand game that directly hits women. So that right there shows the contradiction that that's not true. I just believe that the Frag Dolls at that time wasn't generating enough money, and corporate and finance was like, yo, this is not making sense in terms of money. We got to cut that group.
I mean, during the interview, I had the impression with them that, they generally were allowed to be independent, kind of. So Ubisoft never told them like, concentrate on Just Dance or The Sims, just to mention the two women-driven games.
But okay, and that's fine. But like, we don't know their working relationship.
True.
What was the point of having the Frag Dolls if you have no supervision over them and you really just let them run and go?
True. I only know what we were told. I don't know how much of that is true or not. That's the point there. Yeah, that's the point.
So there's a bunch of reasons, and see, my opinion now is based on speculation.
True.
So we don't really know what the deal is. However, I'll tell you one thing: I'm trying to get the Valkyries to be an actual physical gaming group of girls for Just Dance. We've been trying to get the Valkyries in. We have 2 dance choreographers amongst our Valkyries. We want to create our own dance, and we want to create our own song that we can put in the next Just Dance, so that the Valkyries will be in there. So you know, at KDA they'll have VOA. That's our goal, hopefully, for Just Dance 2023, if not 2024. But we've been trying to do this since like 2019.
We certainly have to make sure we catch up with you and them on that. That would be interesting to see how far it went.
We are working with the Long Island Gaming League and the Lab Video Game TV. We're putting together a deck that showcases this. We are to rent out VR World, which is a virtual reality LAN center here in Jamaica, in which we hosted the Just Dance Off 2022 Championship. Sponsored by the Long Island Gaming League. I'm like, Empire Arcade and the Valkyries, we architect the tournament, we organize it, we host it, we run it, but they're the ones that sponsor it and invest it. And the VR World is they sponsor their LAN center for us to host it in. Live Video Game TV, they're the ones that document it. we want to be able to bring that to Ubisoft and show them that, listen, you can expand your market in Just Dance. Can you imagine Jamaica sets the bar for this and every other Caribbean island follows suit? And then Just Dance becomes an integral part of Caribbean parties that you can host. When you go to Caribbean parties, nothing but beautiful women and in scantily clad clothes dancing anyway. All right, here's where you can interject the video game aspect to it.
So you're really trying to get Ubisoft there. Okay.
Yeah. Ubisoft should have been there a long time ago. Ubisoft's late. If karaoke can get into bars, why can't Just Dance?
Good point. Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you actually have big plans there. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about what they need is someone to show them the way. And you know what happens. You get Just Dance into bars and stuff like that. Alcohol companies get involved. Bum, bum, bum. That's easy money.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see. So gaming is not always only about the fun of the gaming itself, but also everything that's connected to it, the business and so on.
Part of the whole e-gaming thing is the profit and
Right.
If you're not going to profit off of esports or e-gaming or whatever you call it, then you must either be a child or a man-child.
True. Okay, so we spoke about that. Do you have any opinion about, I don't know, is there anything regarding cosplaying going on in Jamaica you could comment about?
That's part of the culture. Cosplay, all right. So there's two elements to cosplay that you have to understand. Cosplay is what they call it in Japan. It is not a Japanese culture. I may get torched for that, but hear me out. Dressing up in your favorite costume to portray the character that you are, or you're trying to role play, is a human culture. That's not a Japanese culture. Japanese brand their version of it. It's called cosplay. Example. Our animated films are called cartoons. Japan, they call it anime. But animated features is not an American thing, and it is not a Japanese thing. That is a human thing. We just name it different. America calls their fictional literature for kids comic books. Japan calls it manga. Korea calls it manhwa. You see the point I'm trying to make here? Nobody owns these things. You just brand your own version of it based on your culture of your people. So Jamaica can do their own cosplay. We just call it cosplay because that's the most popular word for it that we all know. Okay. And cosplay just means costume play.
I know.
Duh. So cosplay is the universal word we all use for it, and we just stick with it. But that's also a part of girl culture. Girls run cosplay heavily. No offense. I like seeing dudes in cosplay, but I like seeing women more in cosplay for the obvious reasons.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Perhaps exception is there if it is a male character that can hardly be played by a woman for some reason. I don't know.
No, I'll disagree with that. I'll tell you why. Here's an example.
Okay.
I'm
getting all the unpopular opinions out of you today.
Let's be straightforward with each other. As men, grown men, we're caught at a cosplay event because you know how society stereotypes. As a grown man, what would you be doing at a cosplay event? You see two people, two men and two women. This guy, he goes to the gym. He's chiseled, right? All right, you know something? Let me use some celebrities. All right, I'm gonna use a celebrity. Let's pick one sexy celebrity. I'm talking about she's bad, hot chick. Olivia Munn played Psylocke, right? Let's go with Olivia Munn. Oh, actually, you know that girl that played Domino in Deadpool?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, let's go with her, right? You have her. Oh wow, I broke my chair. And then you have the guy that plays Superman. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. Right? or you can pick The Rock. Let's go with The Rock, because everyone knows The Rock, right?
Sure.
You have those two guys. Now, The Rock comes in and he plays Shazam. The company hooks him up with the suit, everything, and he's Shazam. And then we say Domino is gonna play Wonder Woman's sister. Nah, because see, then there's a race element to it. Nubia is not as popular, so let's go with Olivia Munn.
Just have her play. No, she can just play. She can be Wonder Woman. You don't have to be.
No. Because that's as disingenuous. Race plays a major important element to cosplay. We want to deny it. I don't believe race should play a role, but it does play a role.
And there we are on the topic of blackfacing and stuff. Ooh.
So it what's the word for this? There's a difference between wanting something to be better and then something what it is, what it needs to change. So like Nick Fury is white, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we've accepted Nick Fury as being black. Mm-hmm. The original Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, is black, but Steve Rogers is white. But within the Marvel continuity or whatever, we are getting better at accepting alternate characters of these different individuals. But there's going to be a big hump that we're going to have to cross eventually when a dominant black character, superhero character, turns white. Will we as a society accept that? And I don't think we won't. I think we're going to get upset. The day T'Challa becomes a white man, we're going to get mad. We're going to be like, right. And that's why I'm saying that, like, although race should not play a role, it does play a role. But the reason why I'm picking out, I don't want to pick a Nubia, Wonder Woman's sister, because I need an equally popular female character as the one The Rock's playing. That's why I'm picking a different. I don't want to use Domino because Domino is black and you can't use her to play Wonder Woman. If you do, you can. But if I'm a comic book connoisseur, I come in and I see a black woman in Wonder Woman's costume, I'm gonna say, "Oh, Nubia." She's gonna be like, "No, I'm Wonder Woman." I'm gonna be like, "But you're black." She may take that like that's racist. No, the black Wonder Woman is called Nubia. She'll be like, "Oh, I see what you're saying, but no, I'm not playing as her. I'm playing as Wonder Woman." Then it's gonna be like, "Well, then why don't you put face paint on?" That's racist. And it's you see the problem there. It's like,
but that's actually what's happening right now in the Western world. You know, that's exactly what they call blackfacing, and that is why if you cosplay a black character, you shouldn't color your face black because that's blackfacing.
No, I believe you should color your face black. And if you're a black person playing a white character, you should color your face white.
Like I said, we are getting all the unpopular opinions out of you today.
But my unpopular opinions are backed by common sense. There are too many doppelganger characters. There are too many doppelganger characters that are black and white. Prime example. Watch me kill the popular point and give credence and foundation to the unpopular opinion. Two people walk in a Spider-Man. You can't see their face. One takes off his mask, he's white. One takes off his mask, he's black. You're gonna say the black guy is Miles Morales and the white guy is Peter Parker. You're gonna say that immediately. You're gonna say that. Why? Because there is a black Spider-Man and there is a white Spider-Man. So you're gonna say that. So you have to paint. Okay, here's what ends this argument. You want to be the Hulk? Don't you have to paint your skin green?
Good point. Good point.
End of the argument.
Yeah. Good.
It's all dead. Yeah. It's all foolishness.
Yeah. But so, I mean, of course, I can only talk about my opinion here in Germany. But you know, since 2014, I regularly go to Gamescom before the pandemic, and there was always a cosplay area, and there were always women that cosplayed characters of video games that had like I don't know, naked butt or something, or half naked because the costume is like like the real character.
Well,
so
yeah, because the
barely
costume
cover
makes no sense.
But and then with Harvey Weinstein, the Me Too movement happened in America, right? And since then, Dutch costumes are forbidden in Germany at Gamescom.
really?
You are not allowed to enter the hall if you are not if you don't cover most of your body in a costume.
That is a sad state of affairs in Germany. That men, grown-ass men, have to ban the culturally artistic aspect of a character because the men cannot behave themselves. That's sad. So what you're telling me is,
I mean, the Me Too movement happened from America. I mean, it didn't even happen from Germany. But because we decided as a society that now it's modern to see women as equally and not as sex objects, we should.
Yeah, but if the woman is dressing herself, I mean, if she wants to dress that way, that's not sexist.
That's not even. You don't even have to use that point. I'm gonna show you the hypocrisy. So stop all modeling swimsuits and bathing suits events globally. You see how stupid this is? If the people at the swimsuit, okay, there's a fashion show I saw, and it's tape. They used tape. They covered up the nipples, they covered up the vagina area, and these sexy women came out in tape fashion wear. All of the men there were civilized men. They can look at the sexually artistic aspect of it and appreciate it professionally. The problem we have here is we have sad males that we call men who cannot behave themselves. And we're tailoring an art to make them behave. Why don't the men make them behave so the art form can be the art form for what it is? They're going backwards. They're pacifying bad behavior. No, if someone comes out as Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku, the guy goes to the gym, he's completely ripped. Okay, Ultra Instinct Goku has white hair and his shirt's off. So you gotta see all those muscles. Women are gonna be like, wow, that body is. Gay men is gonna be like, that's good. Straight men is gonna be like, yo, I need to hit the gym. Everyone's gonna appreciate the man's body in a sexual manner. Some will take it to a sexual manner of like they want to have sex with them, and some will see the body as a body of art. But the men can get to do it. But if someone comes in dressed as Kill, no, you can't do that. Why? Because that's gonna rile up the guys. But the girls don't get riled up over Goku. All right, there's an anime called there's a manga called One Punch Man. There's a guy called Silvershine, the black guy. He wears a Speedos that just barely covers his genitalia, and he's completely butt naked. So, Diesel black guy can't come. No, he probably could. He probably could come, and I'm Silvershine from One Punch Man, and a girl like he's virtually naked, but he gets away with it. But we can't dress up as Kill. You're hurting the art.
That's a good point there. Yes. Yeah.
Don't punish the art because of bad behavior from people. It's very simple. You hire security.
But it's not only Germany. I think we mentioned it last time. Even in the Formula One, there's no grid girl globally in any track or any country because the Formula One society decided, or committee, what you want to call it, decided that grid girls are not a thing anymore. So.
Well, that's a different reason. I tell you one thing, in Jamaica, the culture for dance hall will never change. The girls will always be scantily clad, and they will always be jumping off tables and doing swanton bombs into dudes or letting dudes doing that, and it's a part of the dance and it's fun for them. Me personally, I wouldn't do that. Like, that's just me, and no one's doing that to my wife, but that's me personally. But if that's how young people want to express themselves at a party and have fun and dance, obviously because of alcohol or any controlled herbal substances that they're intaking, that's fine. That's kids having a good time. That's a part of experience growing up or whatever. A lot of people of all ethnic groups come to Jamaica for that. So for me, Just Dance would be perfect for Jamaica because that censorship will never happen here. In Jamaica, we're like, nah, she can wear those booty shorts when she plays Just Dance 2022 and Todrick says, jerk for me, now just twerk for me. I want to see the booty clapping. I'm gonna be like, oh wow, she got some good twerk. In America, people will be like, oh my goodness, that's just so, and that's fine. We'll see your husband here next year when we have the Just Dance off, because yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I
see. Not every progress we made in the last 10 years in the society in the Western world is actually a good progress, perhaps. Well, I mean, of course, I can't speak for women because I'm not a woman, but I was like, I mean, it's totally weird for me that one event in a different part of the world changed the society in a different country in a different part of the world because they say, okay, we can't do that anymore. We can't allow that anymore. It's somehow, as AJ said, it's giving away some freedom, for safety, or whatever.
This goes back to our original point about esports in Jamaica. If the culture of a particular function or activity, business or brand in one country can change the mindset of those in other countries, then Jamaica needs to establish its own cultural foundation in esports so it can try to change others out there. It all comes back full circle.
Yeah.
We need to have our own sovereign take on it, and that's why I'm focusing on the girls in Just Dance. We've done a lot of FIFA. We're going to get back to FIFA, but we believe that we have to take it a step at a time. COVID-19 gave us COVID-19 gave us an opportunity to start fresh, and that's why we're going so hard on Just Dance. That's why we work so feverishly with Wayne from the Live Video Game TV, and that's why we're working with the Long Island Gaming League. We plan to expand this, set the precedence in Jamaica, expand it throughout the Caribbean, take it to Africa. Once these areas are set, we will have enough leverage within those two regions of the world to influence the rest of the world to accept things, and men just need to behave themselves. Honestly, like they
totally
just do.
agree with you. Agree with you. I mean, seriously, before the Me Too thing in the USA happened, none of the hardly dressed cosplay girls in Germany at Gamescom were harassed or something. So, everything was everybody was behaving. So
I'm around in the Empire, and if you don't mind, because just to give you expand upon more on the esports aspect of gaming here in Jamaica through the Valkyries.
That's why we are talking.
The Valkyries have a brand called Forever Summer. That's because in Jamaica it's always summer. We're right on the equator. We're in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. We just finished coming from the pool last week. It was like 93 degrees.
So I see I'm living in the wrong country then.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. In March, we were at the beach. It was 100 something. So this is noontime. So this is just the way it is in Jamaica. The girls here who game, casually or professionally, they have a life outside of sitting down playing video games. And pardon the noise from the car honking outside.
That's okay.
They have a life outside of gaming. If the girls don't go to the movies, they go to the parties. They don't go to the parties, go out to dinner with their friends. If they don't go out to dinner with their friends, they go out to some function whatsoever. They have anime conventions down here. There was an anime picnic down here called Daisuki. Live Video Game TV covered it. We brought Just Dance there. One of the main things I always said with the girls, you girls like going out to the beach and the pool? Yes. Why don't we take our, this is a sales pitch, well actually promotional product here. Take your Nintendo Switch, right? And Nintendo, you can send my check to Jamaica. I'm playing. I don't work for Nintendo. But let's take your Nintendo Switch with you to the beach. Girls go to the beach. They're in their bathing suits. What do girls do at the beach when they're in the beach? They dance, they play around amongst each other, they run into the water, or they just lounge. They're mainly on their phones. Just Dance and a game called 1-2 Switch, a timeless game on the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo needs to remake another version of that game. They're coming out with a new game called Switch Sports, which is supposed to be the successor of Wii Sports. But they still need to make 1-2 Switch, another version of that game. But they go there, they play these games at the beach. They're dancing at the beach and they're having a good time. These are gaming girls who take their games with them on a social venture to have a good time in real life. This is what makes these girls real gaming girls, because gaming is a part of their life. That's what they do.
Right.
And we had a pool party 2 weeks ago, and in there we had a Just Dance competition in it. Women can change for the better how esports is globally through their sex appeal. The reason why it's not being allowed, companies, men, understand that women will need to be compensated for something they were born with, that men cannot control or own. That's why they censor a lot of women sexual appeal unless a man supervises or operates. So, girls can't be scantily clad dressed in cosplay. Okay, at gaming events or cosplay events. But then you said, who are they mimicking? Mai from King of Fighters, the girl from Kill la Kill, certain versions of Chun-Li, etc., etc. Okay, so they're mimicking the way these girls are dressed, right? Yes, cosplay, costume play, the art of costume. They're just dressing like what they see. Well, those images of those girls that they see, who made them? Was it women?
Man, of course. Men did
Men made them.
True.
So if you look at King of Fighters, there's a new, or Guilty Gear, two of the girl characters in there are like, oh my God, like really? One girl sitting there and her double E breasts are just breathing. And I'm like, but then Twitch will tell a girl like, Exo Hydra, you can't be wearing those things. You're too voluptuous. We'll have to ban you.
Yeah.
True.
You see how this is actually what sexist is. This is what sexism is.
Yeah.
Sexism isn't a man liking the image of a girl. That's stupid. That's me liking the image of a girl. Okay, I like the fan. Is it fanism? What? This is dumb. Like, I like this fan. I like this controller. Is this controllerism? No, I just like what I see. Objectifying and oppressing what you see for your control and gain is where the ism comes in. So if I see a girl and she looks sexual in nature, there's nothing wrong with me appreciating her sexual appeal. Me now saying, hey, I want you to work with me. I want to sell your body for my gain and your minimal gain. That's sexism.
True.
Because I'm using her and she's not getting the benefit. Now, if I say, hey, listen, I like the way you look. I want to model you. I'm your agent. I make $90,000 a year. You make $1 million a year. That's not sexism. I'm using my management skills to get her more money than me, but I have to get gain from it because I'm working. That's not sexism. People get these things confused and they're mixing and matching them to the point where now it's like men can't even look at females. You're walking down, you glance, excuse me, why are you staring at me? I literally took a 2-second look at you. I'm not allowed to look? No. Wow. This is the world we're living in. I don't want you to take this as political because it has everything to do with what we're talking about. We're talking about esports in Jamaica. And one of the things Jamaica has that can benefit its growth in esports is its women and its women's sex appeal. So you can't run away from it. You have to address it. You have to face it. It's not a political thing because there's a bunch of hypocrisy involved in it.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't think when this Me Too thing in the US happened that it would change the society in Germany so much, but it did.
You see what I'm saying? And now that may be political because for whatever reason it is, a government makes a law or whatever. When lobbyists, politicians, and laws are getting involved to change the way a society is, then it's political. But what we're talking about is cosplaying, esports in Jamaica. How can Jamaica benefit the global society? Where's Jamaica's stance in it? And what it's like here in Jamaica. In Jamaica, like I said, the Valkyries do Forever Summer. They go to the beach. They're in their two-piece bikini looking sexy, dancing to Just Dance. In America, that may or may not be accepted. But if you go on Twitch, there's an entire category for it. It's called pools, hot tubs, and beaches. That category never existed. The Valkyries have been doing Forever Summer since 2016.
Yeah, but Twitch is a different thing because Twitch was very strict at the beginning. They even didn't allow non-gaming streams, and then they allowed other categories. So Twitch opened up a lot over the time.
That's not true.
Not true?
That is not true. That's not true whatsoever. One only could. First of all, you and I were both around when it was Justin TV. Justin TV is a multi-streaming platform. It was never dedicated to video games, ever, at any time. Video games was popular on Justin TV. Amazon came, outbidded. Well, they didn't really outbid YouTube. YouTube dragged its feet, and then Justin TV decided to take Amazon $900 million offer over YouTube's $1 billion offer. So they went low. They took the lower offer because it was guaranteed right there on the table. When Twitch took over, Amazon took over and turned it to Twitch. Twitch wanted to focus on gaming because it was popular on Justin TV, and they wanted to get rid of the other platforms until they realized that Twitch TV, there's a word for this. They were cutting their nose to spite their face. Why relegate Twitch to just gaming when you can focus on gaming on Twitch, but then expand your portfolio throughout the world? You know who does that? YouTube. YouTube is an upload platform, but they don't say, oh, look, you can only upload blogs or vlogs. They would be foolish to do that. They'd kill their entire market if they did that. So YouTube allows you to upload anything that's within legal standing. And now Twitch is like, yeah, you know something? We need to free up on that. So they open up Just Chatting. Just Chatting is more than any individual game on Twitch. Number one platform on Twitch, Just Chatting. Now they have body paint, and in Just Chatting, you can body paint, music, talk about politics, watch anime. Then they started doing bed and lingerie and hot tub stuff with the Just Chatting, and people didn't like that. Why is this girl laying in a bed in her bathing suit or in her lingerie? So Twitch said, okay, I'm going to create a section called pools, hot tubs, and beaches, because they had so much people doing it, they couldn't cancel that aspect out of Just Chatting. It would be a financial hit on them. So create a section for them. Number two, if they did that, then OnlyFans will just say, okay, all you hot tub streamers come over here. Bam. Twitch would just be out of money. They would have just gave the competition away. That's why they made that. So this concept or this ideology about this idea that Twitch was always video games, you can wiki it and you'll see that no, it was a multi-streaming platform. They just focused on gaming when they turned to Twitch. But it was Twitch was made for gaming. No, it wasn't, because Twitch wasn't made. It was transferred. It was called Justin TV. Justin TV was made for multi-platform streaming. Amazon bought it and then rebranded it as Twitch. It didn't make Twitch. This rebranded something that was already there. If they made it from the beginning, then there'd just be Justin TV and then there'd be Twitch.
True.
So I needed to kill that lie right there, because that's not saying you lied, But a lot of people say that, and it is a lie that's going around, and everyone's sitting there like, yeah, man, this platform was made for video. No, it wasn't. That is categorically false. Period.
I see
that's not my opinion.
You have an opinion about a lot of things. That's amazing. You are involved in a lot of topics, I guess.
Well, I have to be, because esports requires all of these different elements, and in order for the scene to grow, I need to know what I'm talking about when I'm talking to people, because it will always diverge on into these multi-different topics. And although we're here to talk about esports in Jamaica, and I'm really trying to keep us here in that topic, these things matter. That's why, like in saying with the Valkyries, we put up Forever Summer. We used to upload the videos. The girls used to go to the beach, and we used to edit the videos of them dancing or whatever, and then we upload them. When Twitch came on and said, we're going to create this platform where you can stream it, that was so great, because literally 2.5 weeks ago, the Valkyries were at an event called Mizu Wave, and they hosted a Just Dance competition at the pool party. Literally, the girls are at the pool doing a Just Dance competition, sponsored by the Long Island Gaming League. So you see how all of it ties in, it's all interwoven. And when other countries start to see that, especially in the Caribbeans, and then hopefully it doesn't have to wait till it goes all the way to Africa before America takes it up. But let's say it does. Eventually, America is going to change its tune. Like, no, we like that. I'll tell you where they'll change it to. California, Miami, all the tourist destinations will just say, no, we're going to take this in. New York may not accept it. Who cares? But the people who want to go have fun, they will accept it. Cancun, there was an event in St. Martin called VXG. I think we spoke about this in our last podcast. And when we were planning this, I was the one who told them, yo, you should put in cosplay in your event. At the time, Just Dance was not popular, so I didn't have that to put in. And guys from the United States flew all the way over to a tropical island to compete in playing Smash Brothers, a bunch of fighting games. And the after party was a cosplay after party in where some of the esports legends, Justin Wong, IFC Yipes, this was in the fighting game community, Mike Ross, Butex, Combo Fiend, these guys were judges for the cosplay contest. Esports champions, fighting game world champions became judges for a cosplay contest that was an after party for their esports event. You see where this is going?
Why not? Yeah.
You can't stop it. It's gonna happen. It's about who gets there first. And well, not really who gets there first. Anyone can get there first, but who's gonna be able to create a brand that sets the precedence for that. And that's what we're working on right now with the Valkyries and esports in Jamaica. Rather than following the traditional route of just gathering a bunch of people, saying, hey, come play these video games. This makes Wayne's point, where like this is not a part of their culture. They have nothing to relate to or identify with. And that's why esports in Jamaica is so up and down, up and down, up and down. Only the hardcore is going to come out and support the scene. They'll talk a lot of crap online, on TikTok, about how they're the best. Will they come out and support the scene? No. When will they come out and support the scene? When the women do. Why? Because these guys want to be around girls.
Okay,
they're not around girls.
That means what Wayne Benjamin is for bringing those Jamaican players to TV and preserving retro stuff. You are the person for e-gaming, promoting that regarding Jamaica. So there are not really many active people in Jamaica holding up the flag. That's my
no. Yes and no. I can't say no directly. The reason why I say yes and no is there are a lot of people in Jamaica that want to see esports explode. They compete. Thousands, tens of thousands. I can literally, legitimately say there are tens of thousands of people in Jamaica that want to play video games competitively. However, being a third world country with no financial resources to create these infrastructures, there are only a handful full of people that can utilize their ability to push esports in Jamaica. The Live Video Game TV and myself, Empire Arcadia, is like the only two I know. I don't want to leave out JEI because they have an initiative in it, but their initiative is based on foreign support. But I'm talking about people within Jamaica that says we're going to take our resources, our ability, and we're going to go out. We're going to do what we can, like you said about Wayne, finding gaming players such as Marlon Smith and Rocco, the Halo God, and interview these guys, document them, and create content that can make knowledgeable to the remainder of the people in Jamaica who are not even aware of these guys through television and YouTube, that Jamaica has its esports heroes. He does the same with me. He does the same with the Valkyries. It's not just those guys. You know, I've been on his show, On the Wall, Empress Now, Valkyrie Neko, Alethea, Hasari, Dana. I'm like, there's a number of different people that have been on the Live Video Game TV show, and we're looking to expand more and more. So when they hold events like the Daisuke event, we went there. There was a girl called Ashley. She is the tournament, no, not the tournament, the event organizer for the Daisuke cosplay event. She was interviewed. They had vendors there. They were interviewed. So the work Wayne and I are doing, we're trailblazing or reinforcing the foundation for gaming and esports in Jamaica, so that from that reinforced foundation, we can expand in the Jamaican culture. We can focus on the things that will make Jamaican people get into esports, such as dancing, such as football, and such as gun games. But the first point we have to focus on is dancing. You ask yourself, why? We tried the other games. It's not like we just decided to one day just say, we're going to just do dancing. Back in 2014, 15, 16, 17, we did Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty. Was it Gears? Was Gears in there? No, I just think it was just Call of Duty. League of Legends. We did all the staple first world games that are out there, and the scene wouldn't really support themselves. They really just didn't, because it's like only the hardcore in the community that competes hardcore came out to those events. The World Korean Bank came down. Dexton Graham from Esports Jamaica hosted a conference of them, had an esports event there. I don't want to put it out there. I had to literally come out of pocket to save it from looking bad in front of the World Korean Bank representative. I'm not going to say how much money I came out, but I made it work. I had to get some money and make it work so it looked good for them, because that was just terrible. And I don't want them to get the wrong idea. The market is here. Who's willing to invest in developing that market is not. Outside of myself and Wayne.
That's exactly what Wayne said too. That's
not an opinion. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's not an opinion. And when I say, some people will get the wrong message. So let me repeat this. Who in Jamaica is willing to invest in building that market? Not who's willing to go out and get money from somewhere to invest. Take your own money, your own resource, and invest into it. It's just me and the Live Video Game TV. That is not an opinion. That is 100% a fact.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he was a bit hesitant at the beginning, and he said, like, I don't want to blow my own horn, but I'm the only one doing that. I'm like, yeah, but if that is a fact, that it is, you know.
It's not blowing your own horn if it's a fact. If it's a fact, that's what it is.
Exactly. But then, I mean, the way I found out about Wayne is because you did a post about this cosplay event that you mentioned in the Obsolete Gaming Facebook group. and this is how I found out about him, because you posted his lab video game TV video. So this is how I found you.
And-
So that means this interview we are doing now is kind of a byproduct. A result.
What did it cost us? What did it cost? It cost us time, money, and resource and effort to go do that for this byproduct to happen.
True.
Who else in Jamaica is doing that? Nobody.
True. Yeah,
It is what it is.
I mean, before I saw this report about the cosplay event, I didn't have Jamaica in the picture, not at all. You know.
You see what I'm saying? So imagine now you're finding out that Just Dance has a huge dance scene competitively, and what the live video game TV and I am doing with the Valkyries in terms of that. All I ask is that you stay tuned and watch what happens come this summer, because I'm working with, I want to put my cards out there, but I'm working with another country who has a lot of power to make this expand throughout the Caribbean. And regardless of who's going to be working with me, it's going to happen. We're going to make it happen, even if I have to come out of my own pocket to make it happen, which is usually the case. But, you know, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
That's nice. That's nice. I mean, certainly we should catch up then and see what happened from your plan. You know, but I have to. I can tell you that Jamaica is not the only country with such issues. Like
No, it isn't.
On Sunday 2 weeks ago, I had an interview with Dixon Wu, who does what Wayne Benjamin is doing, and you kind of mixed of both in Hong Kong, and he's facing similar issues, you know, because Hong Kong is a city-state, and also nobody was interested into preserving history or making e-gaming or whatever. So when he started in 2015 to bring this idea of e-gaming and retro and preserving history and taking this serious to Hong Kong, people were like, why? Who's interested in that? Nobody cares, you know. So
the general population is always ignorant to these things that's going on.
Exactly.
But that's why you have to make it mainstream. But in order for you to make it mainstream, you have to take a cultural aspect out of mainstream and mesh it into what you're doing. If you don't, what you're doing will remain a niche. That's it. It'll just stay a niche. But if you can blend that activity and function, that niche activity and function, into a cultural aspect of society, it becomes mainstream. That's the whole point of it. So that's why we're using dancing, because then it'll be, once we use dancing, it becomes mainstream. Once it becomes mainstream, then it's easier now to open the door and the floodgates to the other games. The door just needs to be open. And Just Dance is going to do that for Jamaica.
It's interesting, yeah. So seeing Hong Kong and Jamaica side by side, I see a lot of similar problems. So perhaps
not just that, you should also check Ghana. The gentleman Yuba that I sent you. There's another gentleman over there, Kwesi Hayford. I gotta connect you to him. You'll find out that they have similar problems as well. You
mean in Ghana, or what you mean?
Yeah, in Ghana. Yeah, Ghana, Africa.
Yeah, I'm having an appointment with him next Monday. So let's see how that works out. Excellent.
Glad to hear it.
Well, I'm working on the things. I really want to get those niche stories, and hopefully in 10 or 20 years it will be no longer niche, as I said. Hopefully it will be mainstream, or at least more accepted.
Less than that. I say 5 to 10. I don't think it's going to take 20 years. 5 to 10, maybe less. It all depends.
You know.
It all depends on the power of the women. If I say so myself, I don't have any real critics on the outside that can look in and take a look, but
sure.
If the last 6 months has been a testament to our work, Then, the big event that we had at VR World that was sponsored by the Long Island Gaming League definitely shows that, Jamaica's heading in the right direction. For
Oh,
esports.
definitely. When I saw the videos on the Video Game Lab TV, I was totally stunned what was going on in Jamaica. That is why I was so much looking forward to talk to him and you about what's going on in Jamaica, because I was like, this is incredible. There's so much happening here I didn't know about. Oh my God, it's a niche. It's a niche thing.
I can't wait to tell you the rest later on at some point, man. It all depends. About 2 weeks, we'll know. We'll have an idea. Less than 2 weeks, actually. We'll have an idea. And if I can get a confirmation the next week or so, I'll update you, and we can set up a third one, and I'll give you an update in the third one.
Sure. I guess Wayne will be involved as well.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, it would be probably great to bring the director for the Valkyries of Arcadia on, Empress Now. Her name is Shashawn Bailey, but we call her Empress Now. I'd probably bring on, and we both can be on, and you can get some points of views from her, because my point of view from the Valkyries when I created it is different from her point of view on the Valkyries when she manages it. So it's different things.
Well, Wayne said he is very thankful that I'm doing those interviews and preserving those stories and what's going on. I said, that's why I'm doing it, yeah. And and right now I hooked up Ricky Knuckles with Dixon Wu, and hope they can get this gap of TV repair knowledge fixed and filled. If I can help the course, I'm always glad to make connections with people, and then I'm looking forward to see what's happening with Ghana, because I don't know yet what to expect, but we will see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What
really shocked me, as I told you in our emails beforehand, was the situation in Venezuela. That really shocked me the most. When I heard what's going on there, I really had to think about it for a week. Wow, that really made me busy. I was like, wow, that's a shitty situation in the country. Well, hopefully things will go to the better at some point.
It will eventually get there. Once they just need somebody to. I believe once Jamaica makes its move, Jamaica is called the crown jewel of the Caribbean. I believe once Jamaica makes its move, Jamaica's like New York for the Caribbean. So once we make our move, everyone else will either follow suit or be influenced to take their own steps into making things better for esports in their region or their country.
I think Venezuela first has to get political more stable and economically more stable to reach that goal, I guess.
We'll see.
All right.
Then.
Well, thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you. Like I said, I look forward to coming on another time, and if you want, we can have Empress Nile on as well, okay?
Well, sure. I mean, I preserved the whole April for part 1 and 2 of this podcast interview. So whole April will be about you and Jamaica, because we thought it deserves its own rank, And then we go on with Hong Kong, and then we make a switch to Ghana. So we are jumping all around places. It's so amazing. I'm getting all the gaps of the niche country filled, and I hope as I said, in some 10 years it will no longer be a niche, and we can say, yeah, we are globally united now. That would be nice.
That's the goal. That is definitely the goal.
Right. Thank you. Well, so
thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. So have a good afternoon, I would say, right? And I have night here. Yes. I prepare to go to bed at some point.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I got to do myself. But thanks for having me, Ori.
You're welcome.
York, actually.
York, yeah.
Yes. We'll see you guys later, okay?
Yeah, you too. See you then.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.